Mr. Jones being chairman.
Mr. Mayor, I know you're only one vote, and you know that. Based on that, I wanted to know, how did these individuals get approved to actually get a hearing? I know you're only one vote, but does the county commission have to approve them to actually get a hearing to be voted upon?
No, I mean, everybody has a constitutional right.
Yeah, and I understand.
So there's been no vote.
No. I know there hasn't been a vote in hearing, but I was asking, do they have to first, like if an agency petitions the city or the county and say, I want to start this land deal, does someone have to approve their application in order for them to get a hearing to be voted upon?
So let me, and Horace and Jack and them, first they went to DEP, and they were approved at DEP, and that has to do with the legislature. And the next step was come to the county. And quite frankly, with all due respect, I told them, wait a minute, don't even bring it to the county when it came to for a public meeting. I'll go back to the community. So the county has not made any steps. The only thing they got was a DEP permit, correct Horace, correct Jack, and they can't go there for nothing else. There has been no action brought forth. And so anybody can walk down to the county commissioner meeting and multiple people they see and ask for anything that they want.
Put in the application.
They can put it out there for, yeah, they can put it out there. It doesn't necessarily get a hearing.
That's what I'm asking.
It hadn't been
How
a
do you
hearing.
get a hearing?
It hadn't been a hearing. The hearing will be in the courts.
I know we soon get a hearing, but they changed it and they had this reason. I was saying, how did it get to that point?
Well, anybody can. It's like putting in for a building permit.
I know does anybody, but everybody doesn't get approved for a building permit. That's what I'm asking.
But never, he's not going to get approved. He hadn't gotten approved.
Sir, excuse me, okay, from my understanding, what happened is he went down to the plans department to Horace Jones' office. And he had paperwork that he had to fill out, and then Horace's office went out and they checked them out to see if everything was on the up and up, what they have, and as far as what their office have, they have met all of the requirements, the minimum requirement in order to go before the county commission board. And that's how they got to be where they are.
Yeah, I understood that. I was just asking, is there an application process that goes to the county commission?
No, it's the application process start at the planning board.
And that's wonderful.
And Rodney, so what we're proud of, Jack just made that, in most municipalities out of 67 counties, it goes to DEP, which is a state legislative deal, and it just gets approved.
Right.
We're one of the few counties who have we have strong restrictions that it has to come to the county. Because they go to the staff, that necessarily means it comes to the commission.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, anybody can go to the staff. So it had not, it was dropped before it ever made it to the commission. So I understand what you're saying. And so, you know, there are different levels to it.
Tiffany?
Yes, yes.
You mentioned the codes being very strict, but my question is about who is enforcing them and how do we know that they're going to be upheld? Because I think having a code is good, but it's useless if there's nobody to make sure that people are doing what they're supposed to do.
Well, when the like is honest, I can tell you we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars putting a code enforcement officer at Rolling Hills when it became a problem, and certainly the regulation is something that we have to do in-house. And when I tell you that it's bulletproof, I don't know if it's bulletproof. I know the regulations are on the books, and when we find violators, it's enforced under my watch. So I mean, what we've done, we put in alarms, we put in hundreds of thousands of dollars to make sure that we had a code enforcement guy. And if you live out here, you would know that we put a personal person there at Gloria, and he stayed there. And that was a lot of resources. We put a tremendous amount of resources for the regulation of wedge rules. So yeah, great question. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm confused now. The lady that spoke a while ago was at the facts. How could DEP issue permits? Either she's telling a story that's not true, or DEP, because I've got a little pond on Weimar, and I've dealt with DEP, and I know how, well, they come in and they are, and you got to do everything, you don't get a permit. And I cannot imagine looking at the pictures we looked at, remember this lady, now maybe she's not telling the truth. What I'd like to do is go over there and look at it, and listen to it. I'm saying, oh, maybe I'm retired and I can do that. But where's DEP? Are they here?
To answer your question too, the sites you talked about, I do have a DEP permit.
Why does DEP give a permit if all this stuff
lot of stuff
Sir,
said.
let me help you with that answer. That's a good question to the legislature, and I agree. But it's the same that DEP has allowed for many other things to happen. But we don't regulate DEP, it's state. And I can tell you that we stood up to DEP and some things that they put in
She's
place.
not telling the truth. I know DEP takes to get a permit. It takes a lot to get a permit. So I'm having trouble believing the lady that's up there that I think you may be telling the truth though, because she's pretty adamant about here's one fact. So I'm confused. I'd love to talk to DEP reps, so I'd like to talk to them. I may need to call them.
Just to let the group know, the DEP, Officer Chad Gnawing, I had a meeting with him today. He called me. I had to drive from Savannah to inspect the property once again today. I met him at 10:45 today. He's someone I've never met before, DEP. He walked the entire property again and once again signed us off. And
I'm talking about your past history. I'm talking about the F that you got some better business. I'm talking about a fire somewhere that left smoking.
there was no fire anywhere. There's never been a fire. Never been a fire.
And then she told stories and lady, I'm sorry, I guess I can't believe it.
And for me, what I want to do is my record is very clear where I've been. I support the community of Wedgewood. We didn't get in this overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight. We fought for what I believe is strongest regulation. We started with a kid tour 2.5 years ago to bring attention to this. When we started out with these landfills, it was a 4-1 vote. When we finally brought it to reverse it to a 5-0 vote, where we brought forth those regulations, and it was because of the tenacity of this community. I'm not going to give an account for DEP nor the state legislature. I'm going to give an account for the county commission district in Wedgewood and actions that I take. And so it's clearly I have the record that I voted consistently when I was 4-1 on behalf of the residents. So yes, sir.
But can we vote 4-1 and you lose?
Absolutely, I can. Absolutely can. And we lost that vote. But I mean, when you're standing up for what you believe in, you're standing up for those who you represent, you don't worry about it 4-1. But I can tell you that my colleagues, although in the beginning, Gloria, they were not there. When we closed Rolling Hills, it was a 5-0 vote.
Yes.
And that took a lot of work, and it took a lot of effort from the residents too. And so I believe, whether it's a good business or bad business, I'm not here to do an evaluation. It doesn't really matter to me. I respect the evil leader. But what I do respect is the neighborhood. If a resident don't want a family dollar in their neighborhood, well, they don't have it. If a resident don't want a day reporting center in their neighborhood, well, they don't have it. Well, people don't want landfills and recycling, no matter how much economic sense it makes, then I'm not going to support it. Because this is your neighborhood. And if we're here to beat each other up, if we're here to, it's really about the future. Because 20, 40 years ago, people didn't think about us sitting in this seat when we allowed for these to happen. So it's not about how Wedgewood looks today. It's how does Wedgewood look when you leave this property to your children and your children's children, and how do we redevelop it? And how do we make it safe? And so we can't go back. I can't go back to my predecessors. I can't go back to how Commissioner Junior voted or Commissioner Young voted. I can only be accountable for how I voted. And I'm very proud of the record that I voted on. Have we gotten it all right? No. Have we solved my land's problem? No, we haven't. I mean, there's still more work to be done. There's environmental racism that happens many times in many blighted neighborhoods. You have to address those injustices. I am not proud that we have one of the 3rd largest relocations in the history of the United States, and what many of us know is the Scamion. We have more brownfields than I care to mention. So we can't go back and many of those things we have to remediate and clean up. But what we have to do, we can't come and point fingers and get upset. We have to say the buck stops here. We have to work together. We don't have to be mean. We don't have to be rude. We don't even have to say it's a bad business. We just have to say it's not what we want in our neighborhood. And so what I tell my constituents that I represent, it's not about convincing me. My vote is clear where I've been. I have to make sure that I convince my colleagues of how important it is in your neighborhood for them to feel your passion. So again, Gloria, I appreciate Gloria told me I can't take any more questions. I'm sorry. But I'm welcome to take any questions one-on-one. But a lot of people, I do appreciate Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Stokes for being here. We're proud of Wedgewood. My mother always told me it's just nice to be nice. I'm going to be nice to everybody. I'm going to be nice to a guy that petitions, because I can't utilize the same discrimination that's happened in the past to others. You have a constitutional right to seek anything that you want. I have the God-given responsibility to take action and authority and regulations based on what is right and what my constituents that I represent want. So again, that's my position. I hope that you will be at the meeting. We will inform you when the meeting is. Thank you. We asked for a public input, and we've gotten that, and I got my direction from this group and from this neighborhood, and I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you very much for that. My name is Jesse Walker. I'm from this neighborhood, so I've been out here all my life. But when gentlemen come through here, when companies come through here, for some reason, they come here quite often about the fact that they think we're an easy target. But they should know better, because we've fought for this for quite a while. But when a person comes and want to put anything here, I don't care if it's a camp fire, anything. He's going further than that. You want 10 acres, let him put it in this. Okay. Anywhere, you put 10 acres in it. But it don't have to be here. If 7 is required, believe me, you'll be using that 7. But rerouting roads and things like that, that's not going to happen. We come back here for other things that can go into hazardous material again, and everybody will make this. These things can happen. So if you let this man come here, this is pit. You call it not, it's not a fit. Whatever it is, it's going to absolutely agree and got the bridge, got to get rid of it. Don't let it happen. Because for one thing, we have too many hazardous material floating around here now. Just in my block alone, 6 people don't die. Just my block. So I don't know what's happening throughout this community. But our commissioner is only one. He's one vote. What you need to do is start looking at those other 4 votes that are always against. Start looking at those votes, because that means that you're considered. That means that you're considered as done. So you can't have that. So what I'm saying, look on the Better Business Bureau, the lady that was talking here, she only said some things about what's in the Better Business Bureau. The Better Business Bureau have all the things that these people do. They don't listen to phone calls, they don't agree, they don't go forward with things. Because that's the way, and they move from place to place, because once they're through and exhausted one place, they have to move to another. This is the next easier thing. So I say start getting their act together now, and let the other 4 commissioners, the ones that voted this year, let them know exactly what's taking place. Let them know about the grade, which is the lowest grade of 8. From 8, the lowest grade chair. And I'm going to let all the commissioners decide what side we take. Let all of them know exactly what this company has and what the complaints are. The complaints are from regular citizens like this right here. But once you let them get in there, and that machine that you saw, that don't make any more noise than the lawn, just think about it. And don't let them get you with this thing about jobs. Because nobody in your neighborhood, nobody look like you, is going to be working on this. So don't let that go.
Let us hear from Dr. Horning, and then we'll go back to you, and it's going to be, okay, let Dr. Horning finish.
To go back to what you were asking, first, the DEP should be here. The DEP is supposed to be Department of Environmental Protection. We know this community hasn't been protected from anything. They've been dumped on, dumped on, dumped on, dumped on, dumped on, dumped on, dumped on. Those are the ones that are actually active right now. Those were 8 dumps that are active in the diesel trucks going through this community. More diesel trucks. Do you know what the diesel does to the unborn child? It stays in their DNA forever. Their children, whatever types of cancers and other things that diesel can cause children, respiratory, it's going to be passed on to their children, and to their children, and to their children. So whether we're going by the schools or we're going by the neighborhoods, we shouldn't have this in this community. And as Commissioner May said, it was what happened when no one was looking. We also expect our government to do due diligence. Not just look at the site, look at the company. And the DEP should have done that. And saw what was going on. Gay is not making this up. This is straight from the Jacksonville website of their citations. DEP should have looked that up before they passed. It said, fine, let's give it to the county to decide what we're going to put again in this neighborhood. We can't allow one more.
That's right. Yes.
And we need to close more. But folks, we need you. When this meeting comes about, we need you in that audience, whether you want to speak or not. Wear orange and they'll know we're there. And that speaks volumes. We also, as a group, need to go to the DEP office and demand testing of our homes, of our water, of our soil, of what we're breathing now. That concrete crushing site it blows my mind and Mr. Lawrence's mind why it's even there at that school. And then we go back to code enforcement. Whether it's DEP or the county. Yes, we spent tax dollars money, spent thousands, I don't know how much, on monitoring Rolling Hills when Rolling Hills was cited 10 years ago. And then they were cited 9 years ago. Then they were cited 8 years ago, and 7 years ago, and 6 years ago. They were cited every year, but nothing happened. There was no enforcement. They got a little ticket, and then they went away. And here's the kicker with Rolling Hills. Our money, his money, we're paying to clean it up, and he gets to keep the property. Now, you figure that for me. And that's why we got to start at the DEP, and we need your faces at every meeting.